Oh, I don't want to comment on where I may travel or not. It would be wonderful to get the chance to travel there someday. I would truly enjoy that. It would be a real treat. It made sense for us to have more conversations, not fewer, to have more open conversations, not more clandestine conversations, to treat this consistent with America's one China policy that is long established. So I was a soldier during the Cold War, and I came to see what tyranny and communism did to ordinary people's lives, the tragedy that was this highly centralized, authoritarian nature of communism, and most importantly, the impact it had externally, right? The risk that it presented to the United States of America. So I have long come to understand that leaders matter an awful lot. Xi Jinping, when he came to power and years that followed, demonstrated that he presented a real risk to the United States of America. I saw it when I was a member of Congress, and then up close and personal when I became CIA director. And so there are multiple missions. One is to make sure that the world is aware of all that the Chinese Communist Party is doing. Second, we need to make sure that we build out a global coalition based on that set of understandings. And then, frankly, these countries are going to depend on the United States. They're going to turn to the United States, and they want to know that we will have their back, that we're prepared to defend them, whether that turns out to be Southeast Asian countries or Taiwan or Japan or South Korea. They're going to want to know that the United States is committed to pushing back against Xi Jinping and his tyranny. If the United States is prepared to take a whole series of actions that would span the spectrum from economic to diplomatic, and be prepared to build our militaries in a way that can deter Chinese Communist Party aggression. If we do each of those things, I'm very confident that Western democracies, our way of life will continue. It's a little too early to tell. They've just had a handful of weeks now. I want to give them every opportunity. Secretary Blinken has spoken about the genocide that's taking place in Western China. I applaud him for building on what I tried to do. I hope that he can do even better than we did. There are places that I am confident that the policies that we set the course for are truly bipartisan. We saw huge votes for sanctions on the leadership in China as a result of what they did in Hong Kong. We've seen enormous bipartisan support to support the people living on Taiwan. So there are enormous places where I hope this administration can continue to get this right. The challenge will be are they prepared to do the things that need to be done economically? The Chinese Communist Party is deeply entangled in the American economy and, frankly, Western economies all around the world. That is a different threat from the one that's been posed at other times when we were fighting the Soviet Union, doing battle against them. Countries need to be prepared to make sure that they stand up their own economies. They build trading relationships outside of those relationships with China that can preserve and secure their freedoms against this economic juggernaut. Yeah, we started staring at him and realizing it was just crazy. We had this completely separate set of rules that made no sense given the agreements between the United States and China, right? We have a very clear set of understandings. We wanted to continue to honor those understandings, but they had built upon barnacles on top of barnacles over months and months and years. So we decided we would take a full-on review. We did. We concluded it made sense for us to have more conversations, not fewer, to have more open conversations, not more clandestine conversations, to treat this consistent with America's one China policy that is long established. And that's what we did. I think this benefits people on mainland China. I think this benefits people in Taiwan. I think it's better for the entire region and indeed the world that the United States is prepared to have these conversations without these silly administrative restrictions that literally made no sense. Well, we moved a long ways. I want to give this administration a chance to conduct its review before opining on a couple of those issues. They are very important issues. I will say this, much depends on the behavior of the Chinese Communist Party. When I get asked, well, what should the relationship look like? The answer is, it depends on the behavior of the Chinese Communist Party. If they come to understand that there is a global response that is serious, and we simply ask that they behave like a normal nation all around the world, and they don't engage in predatory economic practices, they don't threaten other countries' exclusive economic zones, they don't conduct fishing in places they're not entitled to under international. I could go through a laundry list of things. Much about this relationship will turn on the actual a set of understandings and actions taken by Xi Jinping and his fellow Politburo members. Oh, I don't want to comment on where I may travel or not. It would be wonderful to get the chance to travel there someday. I would truly enjoy that. It would be a real treat. And my life has never been one that I've been able to plan to successfully very far out. I've been pretty blessed. The United States has been so great to me. The fight that I was engaged in and the work that the Trump administration is doing is on my heart. I care about it deeply. I'm going to work really hard to make sure that those ideas continue to be put forward and advanced, certainly in the 2022 elections. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in a couple of years. And if everything falls to the right place, we'll make sure that I'm doing all that I can do to advance American freedom. I care about it deeply. I'm going to stay in the fight for a good long time.